You will see a lot of groups when they're playing fast, they'll often get the slice in here to be able to get back into a different motion. So you'll see it, but it's not ideal. The reason why is because it's going to, like, that glancing blow is going to give you a different sound quality than if you go straight into the head. So it's going to be less sound coming out of the drum than if you hit straight up and down. Also, it can, like, you can mess up, like, hit more rims and things like that if you're at an angle. Ideally, you want to have it straight up and down. If I start to raise this up, just the physics of it, you're doing a glancing blow rather than going straight into it. And so if I'm doing Muay Thai and I'm trying to punch somebody, I want to go right into the impact with them rather than a glancing blow off to the side. So we want to go straight into them, so all of the force of the punch goes into their body. Same thing with drumming. If you are playing so that it's going parallel, you're gonna get more sound coming out of the head because you're getting more of the energy transfer into the head, as opposed to if you're at an angle. Even if I'm getting the same height, it's not going to have the same amount of power behind it. So I can use less energy and less force and get more sound out of it if I am actually playing parallel to the head rather than at some kind of an angle. I could play at the exact same height and change how loud or soft it is by changing how much contact is on the stick and how fast I go into the head. So if I play with a faster stroke and with less contact on the stick, it's going to be louder than if I play with a slower stroke and more contact on the stick. So if you want to get more volume out of your actual playing, focus on those two things: the amount of contact and the speed with which you are going into the stroke. The exercise that I recommend to work on this is called rebound. You can find it under the limb independence, but you can also find this under the technique exercises at the link at the top of the screen. The reason why it's called rebound is because you want to play so that the stroke is going to rebound as fast as possible. You want to get it out of the way of the stick. So a very fast velocity stroke into the head and then get out of the way. So when you play, you're going to have the fastest upstroke possible if this is your quarter note or your 16th note or whatever. You want it to come back off as quickly as possible. ASMR drumming. It's a weird concept. It gets the views. It actually takes more control to play it quieter than it does to play it louder. Don't believe me? Try it. Play really fast stuff as quietly as possible. Good luck. I am absurdly privileged to have been able to study with people who were far better than I ever was. The nice thing though now is you can actually learn from people remotely. Got as many drumming DVDs as possible, and so I learned from like Jojo Mayer and like all sorts of other like really good drummers and learn their different techniques. But in terms of how I was able to get the opportunity to study with some of those world-class people, one was luck. Like Vern Johnson happened to be teaching at a school like 45 minutes away from here. But Jeff Queen, he came out to do the band day at Arizona State. So I took 3 days off of school. I got a lesson on Wednesday. On Thursday, I just practiced all day. And then I got a lesson with him again on Friday. Glenn Crosby, I would just send him tapes like once a month of like things that I practiced, and he'd give me some feedback. Nowadays, you're learning from myself remotely, which is great. Like you can do that with other people who are streaming. Like Drumeo will often have like questions curated from their audience that they'll ask for world-class performers, etc. When I was in Seoul in the airport, I turned a corner, walked right in the middle of like a group of people and was just like, oh, sorry, trying to not get in their way. It was a K-pop group. And there were just photographers everywhere taking photos, videos, etc. So somewhere out there, I am in some kind of social media, most likely for some K-pop group. It was a weird experience. Do I think buying a marching snare or tenor for home practice is worth it? No, for neither. Especially for snare drum, you'll be just fine. But for tenors as well, you'll also be just fine. But like the rebound on Kevlar is different. Again, like as somebody who marched snare for several seasons, it wasn't an issue. I have several different types of pads that I've used, and it might take you a minute or two to just like get used to a slightly different rebound. But no, it's not worth the investment. There's a famous quote of like Stephen King where he says that a lot of people will ask him what type of pen he uses or pencil he uses when he's like writing stuff. That's not the question that should be asked. It's it's more like, okay, well, how much time do you spend writing? So it's not about like what kind of pad you have or like what kind of surface you're playing on. It's more about like, are you actually practicing? And if you're putting in the reps, that's what's going to make the difference. It's not the little details, like whether it's an actual Kevlar head or an off-world pad or whatever. Some people disagree with me, but they're wrong. Yeah. In all my years teaching, there was also like very few students that I've worked with who actually owned a set of like tenors or snare at home. Tiger Woods. You give them any set of clubs and still going to be able to outperform people who haven't put in the work. It's not like you buy the same clubs as Tiger Woods that all of a sudden you're going to be able to like play on his level. That's like the same thing for drumming. Just because you buy the exact same sticks as myself or as like people who are way better than myself doesn't mean you're suddenly going to be the next Steve Gadd. Like you got to put in the decades of practice to be able to get there. Some people are looking for shortcuts, but there are none. All of the skills that I've developed as an educator, as a performer, as a scholar, etc., like that have paid off in the long run, have all been from doing the grind. I've never met anyone who has not done it, who has been a top performer, whether it's as a teacher, as a scholar, whatever. And I've had the privilege of being able to work with some of the best people in multiple fields, both music education, computer science education, etc. It's all about the work. Like that's the thing that distinguishes people. I had some students who like didn't believe me with that. They're like, no, you were just born this way. It's like, no. When I was your age, as a freshman, I was the worst percussionist in the school. I had a quarter note cowbell part cut for me. This is all I had to play. And then sophomore year, I was first chair of every ensemble. What happened between freshman year and sophomore year? When this part got cut for me, I was like, you know what? What happens if I were to actually just practice? So I invested several hours a day. And guess what? I became first chair of every ensemble and stayed that way throughout the rest of high school. Got into all-state, got into regionals, got a full ride percussion performance scholarship. Why? Because I practiced as efficiently and effectively as I possibly could. A great way to work on your 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. So it goes on the right, on the left, on the right. And then it does the opposite of that for the second time through. And the third rep does it with double stops. Now, double stops are important because this makes it so you can actually hear how your hands sound together. Because if you play them in isolation all the time, then you're not going to actually verify, does everything sound the same in terms of like the volume and are the heights the same, etc. Because if you're only doing one at a time, you're just kind of like having to go off of your memory. If you do it as a double stop, you can hear if it sounds like this, like a flam, or if you get this popping sound, or if you have it playing at the same time, but one hand is lower and higher than the other, etc. So the double stops are very helpful for this, which is why I've got it as the music that is on the screen. So if this exercise is too fast or too slow to you, don't worry. You can slow it down as slow as 40 beats a minute or as fast as 200 beats a minute, one click at a time. Timestamps in the description of every one of the videos.